My name is Julie, and I'm 30 years old. My husband, Tim, is 36 and works as a dentist. He's not running his own clinic yet, but is helping at a friend's dental clinic. We dream of owning our clinic and building our own home someday, so we're steadily saving up. We have a 5-year-old daughter, Michelle, and our family of 3 has been living very happily together. Tim is an exceptional husband and father, and our family is often seen as the ideal by others. Yet, unexpectedly, this happiness came to an abrupt end. One day, Tim suddenly brought home a woman claiming to be his mistress. When I saw her, I was speechless. Then Tim said, "Michelle will be well taken care of by the nurturing Amy. She's also pregnant with our second child. So, you're not needed anymore, Julie. Leave." I couldn't believe it. Pregnant with their second child? How long have they been together? As Tim and his mistress were taking Michelle away, she excitedly said, "It's Henry's mom. Will Henry be there when we get back? I can't wait." Suddenly, everything changed. Tim and Amy, Henry's mom, turned pale and started panicking. Amy is a friend of Michelle from the same kindergarten and a mom friend of mine. But that wasn't all. "Are we going to that big house? We can play hide and seek there," I suddenly realized. Tim had been secretly keeping house plans. Could it be that those plans weren't for a home for us, but for Amy and her family? How did it come to this? I needed to sort out my thoughts and reflect on everything that had happened. I know this isn't exactly appropriate, as my friend advised against it. That day was the first time Tim and I had dinner alone together. We both worked at the same dental clinic. Me as a dental hygienist and Tim as a dentist. The friend Tim mentioned was from his college days. And he worked at the clinic owned by that friend. Others might get concerned, and it could make work difficult. But I can't lie about my feelings. "Julie, would you consider dating me?" We had understood each other's feelings before even saying it. Through our actions and attitudes. Other staff members had already been suspicious of us. "Yes, I'd be delighted." And so, Tim and I officially started dating. A year later, Tim and I got married. He was kind, considerate, occasionally humorous. And also had a solid career as a dentist. I thought I was out of his league, but I was truly happy. The following year, we had a child. We named her Michelle, and she grew up well loved by both of us. Just today, a mom friend told me, "I wish I had married someone like Tim. He comes straight home from work and helps out, even though I'm a stay-at-home mom. He's so involved in parenting, there's no such ideal husband around." That's because, Julie, you work hard taking care of Michelle every day. Since she started kindergarten, she plays more by herself, but you were always there for her. You need to relax more, you know? I've told you that. I worry you might burn out. Tim always cared and showed me respect. Michelle came out of her room, rubbing her eyes. "What's wrong, Michelle?" "I need to pee." "All right, let's go with Dad." Despite being tired, Tim always took care of Michelle. Being a dentist, we could afford a more affluent lifestyle than many other families. That alone drew envy, but Tim's character was also admired, and I reveled in a sense of superiority. Our neighbors often said we were the ideal family, and, while humbling, it was also a point of pride for me. That might have been the peak of my happiness. "No, stay in bed." Tim would insist when I tried to get up. "I'll pick up Michelle from kindergarten." "Need me to buy anything?" He had taken a day off because I was sick. "Could you get some eggs and milk?" "Sure. I've made some porridge, eat if you feel up to it," Tim said before leaving for kindergarten. I wish I hadn't caught that cold, maybe then I wouldn't have had to suffer like this. When Tim went to pick up Michelle from kindergarten, she was crying. The teacher said Henry had been mean to her. They usually got along well, but sometimes Henry acted out, probably to get attention. "I'm so sorry," said Amy, Henry's mom, rushing over to apologize. "No, it's just kids being kids." Henry apologized to Michelle. "You shouldn't be mean to her," she instructed, and Henry obediently apologized. Michelle stopped crying soon and happily started playing with Henry on the playground equipment. "I'm really sorry about the other day. It was your husband's turn to pick up Michelle, wasn't it? Is Michelle's mom okay?" "Yeah, she just caught a cold." "Oh really? What a coincidence. My mom also has a cold and a fever today. I'm a single mother, you see." Usually, I'm working and my mom picks up Henry, but she's down with a cold. That's quite something. Tim responded, and they easily fell into conversation. Hey! A few days later, in the evening at the supermarket, Amy approached me. Are you feeling better from your cold? Yes, thanks to you. Your husband was worried about you. That was the first time I heard about it. Tim never mentioned that he talked to Amy when he picked up Michelle. I've heard rumors, but you really do have a wonderful husband. And a dentist too, how lucky. He's more than I deserve. I replied bashfully. I hope I'm not being too forward, but could Henry and I come over to play at Michelle's house sometime? Henry and Michelle get along so well, and I think they'd really enjoy it. Honestly, I wasn't keen on the idea. I preferred not to have people over at my house. Maybe sometime. I made my exit quickly to avoid prolonging the conversation. Please, feel free to come over anytime, Tim said as he brought Amy and Henry over on Sunday. I ran into them near our house and invited them over. Michelle was thrilled to see Henry. A doctor's house is really something, isn't it? So big and spacious. Wow, even the balcony is huge. Henry would play here all night if he could. This place is a rental. Eventually, we want to buy a house and start our own dental practice, Tim shared, talking more than necessary. I tried to hide my annoyance and made coffee for Amy. It was almost lunchtime. I wondered what we'd do for lunch. I'm hungry, the kids said honestly, though their timing was a bit frustrating. How about we get some pizza? Can Henry eat that? Yes, and he loves pizza. That's good. Tim and Amy chatted, looking too comfortable with each other. As if they had known each other for a long time. Hey, I can eat anything. I'm not picky. That's great. Michelle doesn't like vegetables at all. You should tell her not to be picky. What should I say? Tell Michelle not to be picky about food. Tim and Henry seemed unusually close. That day, Amy and Henry stayed at our house until the evening. Then, Tim drove them home. I felt uneasy. Mom always makes delicious meals. Much better than eating out, Tim would say, expressing his gratitude and love. It's because you earn well that I can use good ingredients. It's not my cooking skills, but the ingredients themselves that are delicious. Come on, you prepare 7 dishes every night, like a fancy restaurant. I feel bad that we eat it all up so quickly. I just love cooking. I even sneak vegetables into Michelle's food by chopping them small or blending them. The other day, she caught on, saying she could taste the bell pepper. It's getting harder to trick her. And I can spend time cooking because I'm a stay-at-home mom. Working moms don't have that luxury. I feel blessed. Do you ever want to work? Tim asked a rare question from him. Had he forgotten his proposal, where he said, your job is just to smile in front of me. I don't want anything else. You don't have to work or do housework, just smile and be with me. It's tough working while raising kids, especially for single mothers. Maybe I should volunteer. Help single-parent families, like fixing electrical wiring, changing light bulbs, little things they might hesitate to ask for help with. Something like a handyman, but as a volunteer, not for money. Maybe even start a community for single parents. Tim was unusually talkative that day. And this was a new topic for him. What had spurred this change? Could it be Amy? But I couldn't be certain. After all, Tim's routine hadn't changed. He left for work and returned home at the same time every day. He didn't go out on his days off and always spent time with the family. Despite this, he suddenly brought Amy home, claiming she was his mistress, and said those things. It's cowardly to just run away after saying something like that. When did you start this affair and decide you wanted to divorce me? Explain it to me, I have the right to know. It was a bolt from the blue. I had truly believed my husband would never do such a thing, and I wanted to know what I had done wrong. Why did he choose Amy over me? I'm sorry. Amy started fake crying. It's my fault. I relied on Tim too much. I took advantage of his kindness. He just couldn't abandon me. Your fake tears won't work on me. How did you seduce Tim and get him to fall for you? Was your goal to turn me into a single mother like yourself? I'm prepared for any blame. I just fell in love with him. I couldn't control my feelings. I think no one could have stopped what happened between us back then. What's with this tragic heroine act? I'm the one who should be crying. What's Tim's real intention? Amy's had a much harder life than you think, Julie. She's raising Henry and taking care of her father. 90% of her 24 hours are consumed by childcare and caregiving. Yet, she never complains and keeps going. I was moved by her strength. You, sitting at home doing nothing, wouldn't understand. What? Suddenly attacking stay-at-home moms? Your thoughts and actions now are completely different from what you've been saying and doing. Tim believed Amy's tales of misfortune. He thought he was the only one who could protect her. His sudden change in behavior felt almost psychopathic. What's this big house Michelle mentioned? Amy's pregnant, so I thought a bigger house would be better. We decided on a 2-family house so her parents could live with us. Wait, Michelle was playing there too? Yes. You're the only one left out, haven't you realized? Amy suddenly became defiant. She didn't hesitate to break up a family to find her own happiness. Michelle and Henry were always close, like twins. Michelle is fond of me, and Henry has grown attached to Tim. He even calls him Dad now. Michelle said she hates having a mom who forces her to eat vegetables. Discipline and spoiling are different things. Henry doesn't apologize when he's rough because you let him get away with everything. Don't say rude things. His kindergarten teacher says he's growing up strong and free-spirited. Is that the only way to describe him? Julie. Stop talking badly about the kids. You've always been complaining. It was really painful to listen to. You may not have realized it, but you've completely turned into an old woman, both in looks and attitude. Amy, who had a job, always wore her suits perfectly. She was meticulous about her appearance, spending time and money on beauty treatments, which any woman would notice. Tim always said he couldn't see you as a woman anymore, you were out of the question. You gained 15 pounds after giving birth and failed numerous diets. You gave up on dieting and became careless with your body, who would want to embrace that? You lounge around all day at home, stop wearing makeup, aged quickly. He felt deceived by you. Tim is kind, so he never said anything to avoid hurting you. But it's time you faced reality. I was at a loss for words, unable to interject. No, it wasn't that. I couldn't find the words to fight back. Indeed, I had taken the easy path since marrying Tim. He was always kind, praising me, expressing gratitude. I couldn't believe he thought this way. I had no choice but to give up. Talking is useless now. Michelle, let's go with Dad. Michelle was pulled away somewhat forcefully, looking back at me several times. But I hadn't given up. There had been talk among the other moms about Amy. I hadn't thought things would turn out this way, so I left before hearing more. But now, I thought about using that information to my advantage. I thought your house would be bigger, I said, confronting Tim and Amy at their new house. My main reason was to see Michelle. I insisted, somewhat selfishly, that Tim be there too. I heard you planned to start your own dental clinic, but that's been cancelled? Yes, due to budget issues. Well, of course the budget ran out when you built the house exactly as Amy wanted. You even made it a 2-family house with an elevator for her parents, right? That was your plan all along, wasn't it? What are you talking about? You met Tim by chance at the kindergarten pickup and decided to seduce him, right? Among the moms, Tim was seen as the ideal husband, the ideal dad, and he's a doctor. You, a single mother who's struggled, thought you could snag Tim if things went well. So, you carefully planned and turned Tim's feelings toward yourself. Wait, why are you talking like some kind of detective with a brilliant deduction? Stop, you're making me laugh. Amy was trying to change the subject. But I couldn't back down. You fully utilized your weapons, right? Being a single mother, taking care of your father. You invoked sympathy and appealed to Tim, and he fell for it, didn't he? That's just Julie's wild guess. I don't think I was deceived by Amy. Besides, Amy is pregnant and not in a stable period, so don't be too provocative. I was disillusioned with Tim. Talking badly about me behind my back, to his mistress no less, is a typical tactic of adulterous men. Yet, if Tim really thought I had let myself go that much, then I was also to blame. I couldn't complain if his feelings shifted to another woman. But the problem was that it was Amy. There's something I really need to ask you, Tim. What? If you're going to agree to the divorce, I'll listen. Just listen. This is an email from a mom friend who's close to Amy. It's almost going as planned. Such an easy man. Doctors, they never play around, just study all the time. They don't know the real world, so it's easy to deceive them. Among the moms, he's praised as an involved dad, a loving husband. But that's only because he has nothing else to do, right? He doesn't go out or drink. He's just a boring man who doesn't have friends, praised for being family-oriented. He's just a guy with a low mental age, feeling superior only with kids. Well, that can't be true. Anyway, I got him to build a 2-family house, and his annual income is $600,000, so I can't complain. Gotta tolerate it. I close my eyes and bear it. He's taking the pregnancy seriously, which is silly if you think about it. Men are so simple. It's all a lie. I said that so he wouldn't end it with just an affair. I didn't want to be just a mistress. I hate Julie. She's so annoying, feeling like the happiest person in the world just because she's a little pampered. I've always wanted to mess up that family. When I got a chance to talk to Tim, I saw my opportunity. So, I kept making excuses to contact him, mostly through email. I talked about childcare, work. He would reply with long messages. Without reading much, I'd say, "Thank you, you're the only one I can talk to." The email went on, but Tim stopped reading there. He seemed quite shocked. "Is this true? What are you saying? Of course, it's a lie. There's no proof it's me." Amy desperately denied it. "If you claim it was someone else, you might be able to persist with that story." "This email was written by Julie to frame me. She's bitter because I took Tim, she hates me. You don't seriously believe this, do you? You know I'm pregnant, right?" "I can prove you're not pregnant. Look at this part of the email." I sent him an image of a positive pregnancy test. He believed it right away. It was just a found image, but he's so gullible. "So, Tim, have you ever been to the obstetrician with Amy?" "You can say anything, but it's better to check properly. You came here just to say this? You really have too much free time. Amy, you have free time too, right? You said your father needs care, but that's a lie. He goes gambling every day with your mom. That's, well, a part of training. If Tim still wants to be with Amy, that's fine by me. I brought the divorce papers. Just need Tim's signature. But I will make sure to see Michelle." "Where's Michelle today?" "Michelle is at a rhythmics class with Henry. We can afford such classes thanks to Tim." Amy was suddenly sweet-talking Tim, trying to navigate her way out of this pinch. "I'm curious to see how long you can keep this up." And so, Tim and I got divorced. Afterwards, Tim, Amy, Michelle, and Henry lived together in a large 2-family house. Tim and Amy weren't officially married. Amy seemed to be delaying it. Then, I got an unexpected call from Michelle's kindergarten teacher. "I thought to contact Tim, but I decided to reach out to you. Michelle seems down lately. Could it be due to your divorce?" "I think it's not just that. During gym class, I saw bruises on her back and shoulders. I first thought she might have bumped into something, but it felt off. Could she be facing abuse at her new home?" After hanging up, I was stunned. Abuse? Amy must be the culprit. I immediately went to pick up Michelle from the kindergarten. I hugged Michelle tightly. "I'm sorry, it must have been tough. Can you tell Mommy what happened?" Michelle started crying. I patiently waited for her to start talking. "Amy's been mean to you, hasn't she? It's okay, Mommy is always on your side. I'll save you." Hearing Michelle's fragmented story, my anger towards Amy reached its peak. Unforgivable. I left Michelle at a daycare I frequently use and, trembling with rage, went to confront Amy. "Don't contact me or come here uninvited, we have nothing to do with each other anymore." Amy came out, looking unkempt like I used to, in sloppy home clothes and messy hair. "You're one to talk. I'm planning to go to the police, but I had to say this to you first. I understand you have a lot to say to me, Julie. But you're divorced from Tim now, and Michelle is under Tim's custody. Why don't you just give up? Amy, you've been abusing Michelle, right? The bruises on her back and shoulders are because you've been rough with her. You didn't feed her, didn't let her take a shower. Your actions are despicable. Just thinking about how much Michelle suffered makes my heart ache." Michelle was just in the way. What? I only wanted Tim. I didn't need Michelle, but Tim insisted on taking her, so I reluctantly agreed. I thought Henry needed a father, and I would have preferred just Tim, Henry, and me. Why the violence? Did you hate Michelle? She wouldn't listen and kept talking about you. Just for that. Attacking a weaker child, you're cowardly and cruel. I will never forgive you. Our selfish squabbles hurt and traumatized Michelle. I'll never be able to apologize enough. I decided to fight tooth and nail. Michelle, be good, okay? Please take care of her. After sending Michelle to daycare, I headed to work. The previous kindergarten was no longer a good environment for Michelle because of Amy. So we moved a bit farther and started anew. I began working at a nearby dental clinic, utilizing my dental hygienist skills. Working 7-hour shifts felt tough after 6 years as a housewife. But it turned out to be quite enjoyable. Probably because everyone at the clinic was so nice. Just when I was trying to live positively as a single mother with Michelle, I got a call from Tim. It's a mess. Amy's been arrested by the police for child abuse. It's absurd, but I don't know what to do. Henry is acting out even more without Amy, breaking things. I can't handle him. You didn't notice Amy abusing Michelle? You're a failure as a father. I was the one who called the police. Michelle had bruises, how could you not notice? She wasn't fed, wasn't taking a shower. What were you doing while living with them? Amy said she would handle everything at home, and when I tried to help, she told me not to. Amy deserved to be arrested. I hope she never gets out. So, I got kicked out of the house. After marrying Amy, my house got occupied by some unsavory characters, and I lost my place. Amy's pregnancy was a lie, and I was just used up and discarded. You reaped what you sowed. You should have been better at judging people. Maybe I lacked judgment when I married you too. So, it's really over between us, isn't it? Of course not. The crime you committed is severe. As punishment, you're never seeing Michelle again. Being unable to see one's child as a parent must be torture. I'll consider allowing Tim to meet Michelle only if she grows up healthily and overcomes her trauma.